Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, and of course that's sarcasm. We're going to do a tier maker. Everyone's done tier makers, but this is going to be a little bit different. Now, there are lots of videos out there where people have done tier makers on YA, adult fiction, all kinds of things, and I don't read enough to be able to complete any of those tiers because I haven't read all the books, and it ends up being that I God tier 1 and then just having no clue for the rest. So I decided I was going to make my own, and I thought it needed to be something, a niche, that I hadn't seen before because that content would be boring, but it would also need to be enough that I could actually input quite a few examples of the thing that I enjoy. And I thought a perfect example of this would be murder mysteries, because I really struggle to read murder mysteries, but I actually really enjoy watching murder mysteries. I like how formulaic they are, I like how tropey they are, I like that there is always one episode that has some kind of vampire or werewolf. There is always one episode where one of the teammates is under the gun kind of thing, and yeah, I just really enjoy them, and I've always watched them. My family is a massive collection of nerds for the murder mysteries, so I've decided I am going to tier rank all the murder mysteries that I have watched, that I've also rated on IMDb. There's 115 in this list, and that is not every murder mystery I've ever seen. That just happens to be the list of those that I've ranked already on IMDb. But I thought I'm going to tier them for you because some of them are quite forgettable and I would not recommend, and the others, if you've seen these shows, you need to tell me because I need more friends to talk about it. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, Tier Rank has very kindly put these in alphabetical order for me, so I will be able to go through. So just to go through before we start the tiers. So we have God tier. This is the tier that I'm just in love with. I can't sing highly enough. Why don't more people watch this? Then we've got great, happy to sit and watch it over and over again. Alright, which means that I probably enjoyed it, but I don't actually remember what any of the storylines are. Meh, I don't remember watching this basically. And then Get in the Sea are the murder mysteries or mystery series that I'm just like, this was, I remember it because of how dog shit it was. Get in the Sea. We will start with the first one, which is 24. Now, I know that 24 was a massive cult classic and it was just, everyone really enjoyed it. And I guess I'm starting this with a controversial opinion because I thought 24 was meh. I really just thought it was kind of rubbish. The next one, I'm not going to dwell too much on the meh and the Get in the Seas one because we'll be here all day. So the next one is 666 Park Avenue. This is a murder mystery around an apartment building where people keep dying, and it is shit. It's so boring. Really, I was expecting like devil stuff, which is a weird thing to go into a TV show looking for, but I was expecting some kind of like conspiracy theory, cult storylines, and it was just this girl flirting with her neighbour a lot, even though she's already got a fiance, and the fiance just gets kind of taken for granted. But it was just rubbish, so that can Get in the Sea. Agent Carter is obviously the spin-off from the Captain America series, and I thought it was alright. I enjoyed it. I had to rewatch it twice because the first time I watched it with friends and I found it kind of boring, but it could have just been that was my mood. I then went back and watched it again on my own, so I watched like the first couple of episodes with them. And as with books, so with a book, I will give a book 3 chapters to keep my interest, and if after 3 chapters it doesn't hold my interest, I will DNF, which is why I have so many 5-star reads this year and so few 1 and 2-star reads. And I do the same with TV shows, so I will give it 3 episodes before I decide to just quit it. And I watched the first 2 episodes with friends and thought it was mediocre, and watched the 3rd episode, and after that I realised that actually I'd finished the entire season and I was ready for season 2, and it was alright, I enjoyed it. Next is Alphas. Alphas is rubbish. These people have super skills, but much like with 24, it's just a lot of hype and not a lot of enjoyment. Can Get in the Sea. Altered Carbon. Now, I watched this and then went back and read the series. This is a sci-fi murder mystery with clones and downloading your thoughts and AI like hotels. It's just awesome. If you've not seen it, it is still on Netflix. They've now brought out season 2, which I haven't seen yet because I'm trying to work through everything else so that I can then just binge this. I loved Altered Carbon, and the book is fantastic. There are massive discrepancies between the book and the TV series, much like with Game of Thrones and every other massive book that was then turned into a TV series, but Altered Carbon is god tier, as is Angel. So we're probably going to get a few of these. I just want to kind of do Angel and Buffy together. So Angel is the more murder mystery style. It is the spin-off from Buffy. And Buffy is, in my mind, a murder mystery as well, because in each episode they have an antagonist that they need to research and chase and bring down. And it has all the formula for being a murder mystery, especially as people die in it. So there is that. Angel was the spin-off that felt very much more like a murder mystery series because he's a PI as opposed to just a slayer, but I loved it. Did I love it more than Buffy? That's the thing. Buffy is god tier, but I think maybe Angel, the ending was a bit, and they lost their way a bit when they started working with Wolfram and Hart. So great tier, and then god tier for Buffy. Awake is a TV series about a guy who is in a car accident with his wife and his son in the very first episode, and one of them dies. And when he sleeps, it's his wife that survived, and when he's awake, it's his son that survived. And he has to solve a murder on both sides of his imagination, but obviously the worlds are very, very different because they have two of his family members split between the two, so it's quite psychological. I think it's British. I do think it's British, but it might be American. I can't really remember. It was a while ago that I watched it, but it left quite a good impact on me, so I would say that it was probably in the great category. I remember it being slightly different, and I quite like the psychological twist on things like that. I thought it was very clever. Backstrom is next, and Backstrom is Dwight from The Office. I mean, Rainn Wilson basically just plays Dwight from The Office, but as a detective. And he's miserable and misogynistic and rude, but it's genuinely quite funny. The episodes are quite samey. I really didn't like a lot of the B-list characters in it, but Backstrom himself was quite funny and it was alright. Banshee, I don't remember watching. I've rated it on IMDb and I know that I've seen it, but I can't remember anything about it, and therefore it can only be meh. Okay, Blacklist. So this is about a guy who basically has a list of people that he wants to get rid of, and he is like the ultimate villain, and he basically uses this list with the FBI to collect all these people, all these other bad guys, because they're now trying to get him and he's in trouble or whatever. So it didn't even have good potential. I watched it with my dad. My dad really enjoyed it, but I just thought it was rubbish. It can get in the sea. Blind Spot was disappointing. I really enjoyed the concept of it, the idea that she wakes up and she's got all these tattoos on her, and it felt very Prison Break in the fact that there's like the story behind the tattoos and it develops as the story goes, but the further the storyline went on, the more unrealistic it became. It is an FBI story as opposed to a standard police department, so the stakes are higher, but it just lacked so much for me, and the mystery just didn't pay off, so it was kind of meh in the end. Bones was really good. I really, really enjoyed Bones. And what I liked about Bones is obviously you've got the kind of buddy cop thing, but the idea that she is this anormative person but also incredibly empathetic, and I just really like the character of both Celie Booth and Temperance Brennan. I thought they were really great. I thought the B-list characters were fantastic, and I like the fact that as the series progressed, you got to see their lives kind of develop. It wasn't solely about the murder. I liked the fact that there was a lot of, it felt really scientific, even if it's not necessarily based on true science. That was really interesting to me. What I also liked is that it was another series that wasn't afraid to make its protagonists antagonists. There was a whole plot twist where it turns out it was one of the people working with Brennan that was actually a serial killer, and that, it broke my heart. I think it was supposed to, but it was really, really well done. So I would put Bones in great. It's not quite god tier, because I think there were a few episodes where I was like, we've done this before, and they really, really stretched out the romance between Booth and Brennan. And then it was weird because like an episode later she was pregnant with his baby, and it's like, you've literally just got together, but I find that frustrating, but anyway, so that was that. Broadchurch is a British classic with David Tennant and Olivia Colman. Everyone really loves it. I thought it was okay. There are a lot of British crime dramas that are kind of like Broadchurch, and I feel like if you like one, you like them all, but they are very middle of the road, there to shock you, but the plot twists are almost inevitable, and that kind of, I lose interest in that. And the next one is Bull, which is technically a courtroom drama rather than a crime drama. Bull is sassy and it's cheesy, it's American cheese, it's alright. The next one is Burn Notice. Now, this isn't a crime drama other than he is an ex-CIA agent who has to solve mysteries and save people and stuff explodes. It is cheesy in the best possible way. The Irish accents in it are bad. It has, what's the guy's name? Bruce Campbell, that's it. It has Bruce Campbell in it, who plays kind of one of the side characters, and he's really, really funny in that. And it's just a really great show about spies. It's a really good time. I would put that. Is it great or God tier though? I feel like it should be God tier, for me at least, just because of the sheer number of times I've watched it. I really want to do a Burn Notice book tag, except I don't think enough people have watched it that would get the references. But it's a great show. If you've not seen it, you should watch Burn Notice. So that's going in God. Cadfile, you definitely won't have heard of, because unless you grew up with my dad, like, it's really not something you would have watched. It's a murder mystery series set in the 12th century, and Cadfile is a monk who solves crimes. It's great. I love it. It's really, really old. You can still find it on YouTube, but you can't find it anywhere else. The books are also really, really good. So if you enjoy like historical fiction, but you want something a little bit different, you want a little murder, that's a good show. Oh, Cardinal's next. So Cardinal was another one where it's kind of like Broadchurch. It's a bit intense, drama-y, but I found it a bit meh. Didn't really enjoy it. The next one is Castle. I loved Castle, but the problem was I worked out very, very quickly, because I was watching it on my laptop, that if you hadn't met a character by a certain minute point, it didn't matter how hard the writers made you think it was them, wasn't that guy. And it's so formulaic, but I like the fact that it's a writer and a detective. The only thing that really spoiled it for me was the fact that, again, like with Bones, they played too much with the relationship. There were too many times when it could have been them together and then it wasn't, and they messed around with that. And what also breaks my heart is apparently the two actors that play the two protagonists fucking hate each other. It kind of like taints it a little bit when they, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I find that if I discover that two actors that work together don't get on, I don't know, it breaks the fourth wall and just kind of spoils it for me a little bit. So it will go on to great, not God, because I really enjoyed it, but that ruined it. Constantine is just, it's not even meh, but it's not getting to see either. It was bad. I really didn't like it, but I couldn't give you a reason why I didn't like it. Right, Covert Affairs. For everything that I loved about Burn Notice and a spy drama and all this sort of stuff, I fucking hated in Covert Affairs. The plot, essentially, is that she falls in love with this guy and she can speak like 8 different languages, and then one day he just disappears and the CIA recruit her to try and find him and basically train her to be a spy for some reason. And then she becomes like an actual spy, and oh god, it's bad. The dialogue is atrocious. Her best friend is a blind guy, and they play that for jokes all the time. Like, all the time. And that's not even the worst thing about this show. It was just get in the fucking sea. Could not stand. Right, next one is Criminal Minds, which, if you've seen my last video, my husband is an actor in Criminal Minds. So Criminal Minds, it's about FBI agents, but they are a special behavioural analysis unit, and essentially they look at the victimology and the kind of geography of crimes, of serial killers, to try and track them down. It's full of sass, it's full of like really, really dark storylines, but it's great. A lot of people watch it for Spencer Reid, who's played by Matthew Groblerson, him, that guy, but I watch it for Aaron Hotchner. Definitely God tier. The next one is Dark Matter. I don't remember anything about it. Apparently I've watched it because I've rated it, but I don't remember it, so that can go in meh. Next one is Death in Paradise. This might be another one that British people will have heard of, but maybe Americans haven't. Death in Paradise is essentially about a British detective that goes over to a Caribbean island. I can't remember which island it is. it's like Sainte Marie, I think. It's a very much a fish out of water murder mystery. He is very stuck up. He is very traditionally British in that he drinks tea and wears a suit and tie everywhere, which does not fare well in the hot weather. That kind of adds to like the mystery side of it. It's really, really good. They have had enough, I think there's about 6 seasons now. There have been 3 actors. Chris Marshall took over. They've had some really, really great actors. It's a really good watch. I really enjoy it. That can go, yeah, great, it's great. Death at Pemberley is a murder mystery 4-part series set after Pride and Prejudice, written by P.D. James, and it's alright. If you really enjoyed Pride and Prejudice, it does kind of shit on it, just a little bit, but if you just like period dramas and murder mysteries as a combination, it's alright. This is going to be really, really controversial. The next one is Dexter. And I hated Dexter. I hated Dexter from the moment in episode 1 where he has a girlfriend that he doesn't want to have sex with because he doesn't get any sexual gratification from having sex. And he says essentially in the dialogue that the reason he likes having her as his girlfriend is that she was sexually assaulted and therefore doesn't like to have sex either. And that, just the way it was played, I just didn't like it. Massive red flags for me. Yeah, the storylines got more convoluted and there was stuff with his sister and I just, no, did not like it. Didn't like it. So Dexter can get in the sea. Okay, so this is taking a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, purely because there are so many on this list. So we're going to do a quick fire round where I'm just going to try and find all of the meh series and just get those out of the way. So Dr. Blake is I think it's New Zealand murder mystery. It's slightly historic and around a doctor. Meh. Forever is about a guy who can't die, or every time he dies he comes back to life. He's solving crimes but he's also trying to work out what's wrong with him. Meh. The Frankenstein Chronicles were just bad. Again, had so much potential. You're playing with a lot of mythology there, but was just meh. Harry's Law probably no one's ever heard of, but this is essentially about a lawyer who was a real like stickler for the rules but also a bit of a maverick. Meh. Inspector Linley is one of my dad's favourites, but it's been done so many times that it's just meh. Dollhouse is less of a murder mystery and more of like a crime mystery in that these guys are criminals and doing stuff, but it's psychological, it's sci-fi, it's another Joss Whedon, and although he is problematic as fuck, he seems to make great TV series. Dollhouse goes to great. Elementary is a Sherlock spin-off set in New York, and what I liked about it is it really played on the kind of relationship between Dr. Watson and Sherlock. She is a surgeon, but less of an army doctor and more of a companion to him. She's dealing with her own drama, and what I really, really liked is the whole time there isn't a will they, won't they. It's that they love each other as a really platonic, they're a platonic couple, and I really appreciated that there wasn't sexual tension built between them for the sake of a story. It was more for a building friendship, and although yes, I definitely shipped them, it was refreshing to see that it wasn't played for views. It also looked at drug dependency and PTSD and a whole range of other things, but it always seemed to be, it erred on the side of caution. I really liked it, and the acting was just 10 out of 10, so I will put that in great as well. Right, Endeavour is a Morse spin-off, so I will do Morse first and then we'll come back to it. So Inspector Morse was a 70s, maybe 70s 80s crime drama set in Oxford, and was essentially looking at the privileged and the murders that they commit but being solved by a very intelligent ex-Oxford student who had then become a detective and worked with his less intelligent partner, and a very kind of modern Sherlock Holmes style story. The original stories were good, I really enjoyed them, but actually, so I would put them in alright. Endeavour I didn't enjoy as much because it seemed to really try and take all of the things you loved from Inspector Morse and then kind of rebrand them as him as a younger detective, and obviously he's struggling to work his way up, but everything is just kind of played for that reason, and it just kind of made it meh. However, they then also did a second spin-off, so that was the first spin-off. The second spin-off was Lewis, where it looks at Detective Lewis, who was the slightly less intelligent inspector, and they partner him up with Detective Hathaway, who is again a very Morse-like character and very, very intelligent, and they managed to capture that dynamic again, where they hadn't with Endeavour, they did with Lewis. And I watched all 9 seasons, so That can go in alright. I enjoyed that. Oh, fairly legal I should have put in the meh category. That is about a girl who is a mediator rather than a specific lawyer. She has given up her very important legal job to try and help people whilst dealing with her own drama, and it's just, yeah. Father Brown. Now, if you've looked at Father Brown, you will know that the actor plays Mr. Weasley, and he basically plays the same character in this as well. He is a Catholic vicar in a very small town in the 1930s, I think it is, solving crimes. And it's charming, and it's very cute. It can go in the alright. I enjoyed it. No, it can go in great. I still watch it, so it should go in that. Foyle's War is another murder mystery set during, I think it's the Second World War? First or Second World War? I can't remember, and therefore it should go in there. It was okay. Right, Gotham. How do I politely say that it shat on the DC universe? Get in the scene. Grantchester, again, had so much potential. It's another vicar, another Catholic priest looking to solve murders in a tiny little town, but it looks into his life and his choices, but he makes so many choices that I don't agree with, and both detectives, they kind of play their family drama for views whilst the other, like, so it doesn't, the crimes don't get the forefront, they're not the forefront of the drama, which, because their lives aren't hard, but they try and make them look more difficult than they are, and it's just meh. Grimm is another one that everyone always tells me, oh, you should watch Grimm, you'll really like it. I've tried and I fucking hated it, so it can get in the sea. Hannibal. I really tried to like Hannibal, I really did, and I really thought I would enjoy it because I saw the fan art and the fan edits before I saw the show. It was predictable, it was very slow paced, and I guess I've got quite a short attention span, I need something to happen a bit quicker. It's crazy that I voted for Burn Notice to be higher than Hannibal because of the esteem that is given to one and the lack of the other. Hannibal is meh. And the next one is Happy as shit. I know that basically he suffers like a mental breakdown. He gets the shit kicked out of him and he starts seeing this little unicorn creature. It's shit. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Hawaii Five-0, the modern version, this is not the original 70s show, this is their modern adaptation, is fine if you have some time to have something on in the background. You can watch that. Hemlock Grove is fantastic. I really enjoyed Hemlock Grove. And that is a murder mystery around a small rural town with werewolves and vampires, but they're not called those things, and it looks like mythology, and it really plays on that as like a scientific perspective. Fallen angels apparently, and really like it's psychological and creepy and sci-fi and fantasy-y, and there's a lot going on, but in the same way that Altered Carbon has a lot going on, they're both just so good, right? That can go in God tier. I've done the face and therefore it must be good. That's how that works. Homeland, get in the sea. It didn't help with Homeland that I saw the plot twist before I actually got to it because I was too busy watching other things. It can get in the sea. How to Get Away with Murder with Wiz. There were some scenes in it that were beautiful and really clever, and if those scenes were just standalone, it probably would have been great. But it's alright. It's not amazing. Something Target. I can't even see what that is. No, barely recognise that. Get in the sea. Hustle is a weird one because it is technically a crime drama. Again, it's from the perspective of the bad guys. So it's about the con artists who are kind of Robin Hood-esque, righting wrongs and stealing from the rich to give to the poor. It's really good, and if you haven't seen it, I think Leverage was the American adaptation of it. Leverage is shit, but Hustle is good. I really should have had a good tier, but I have alright and great. I need like an in-between. Okay, In the Dark is very similar to like the Broadchurch Cardinal style, where there is definitely a corrupt police officer but you don't know who it is and you're trying to work out all this stuff. But I don't know if it was just that I'm an angry woman, but something about having a pregnant detective protagonist just made it better than the others. I really enjoyed In the Dark. I thought it was really cleverly constructed. I thought the story was really compelling. It was great. iZombie is basically Buffy the Vampire Slayer if Buffy was a zombie and not a slayer, because it's a petite little blonde girl solving murders kicking butt and just generally awesome. Love her. That's going in the great. Jekyll and Hyde is shit. Don't waste your time. Justified is I can't remember if it's a Marshalls or a Texas Ranger style thing. All I know is the main character really likes shooting people and he's got a great southern accent. I don't think it's accurate to what his job description would be, but it's alright TV. I enjoyed it. Killjoys is another sci-fi murder mystery. They're essentially bounty hunters, I guess, or like Pinkerton style things, but it's in the galaxy and it's quite compelling. If you haven't seen it, it's quite compelling. I don't want to give too much away of that one because actually I think it's all in the hidden bits of the narrative because obviously they go and solve all these things, but also there's other stuff going on. It's a good time. The next one is a buddy cop thing that I can't actually see what the title is, but I just remember it was shit, so I can get in the sea. Lie to Me. Okay, Lie to Me is based on real science of studying your face. It has Tim Roth being Tim Roth. It has really compelling storylines. I've watched it so many times. It is god tier. God tier. God tier. Move up. It's god tier. No, not great. Right, we'll put it in great. Then we'll move up. There we go. I need to zoom out. I don't know why that zoomed in so much. Okay, the next one is Life. Life is about a guy who was a detective and he was framed for a murder that he did not commit. And then he serves, I think it's something like 8 years in prison. And then they find out that actually he couldn't have done it and they release him from prison, but he's already served, or maybe it's longer than 8 years. He served some time in prison and when he came out, he got compensation and became basically a millionaire from this compensation because of how long he'd spent in prison and the fact that he hadn't committed these murders. They reinstated him and then he's solving crimes, but obviously he's very, very different now because he was treated like a convict. It's a really, really compelling series. It's great. You should watch it. And there are still so many to go. This video is going to be so long. I can't do all of these. Once again, Hannah has massively misjudged this. So we're just gonna go through, try and find my favourites, and then we'll call it a day. So, Lost Girl is like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but with more kinky stuff in it. It's god tier. Lucifer is great. Based on a graphic novel, really, really compelling. Midsummer Murders is a classic. That can go in great. It's based in a country village. My family and I have bets on who's going to die when because they've always got so many murders. Who knew so many serial killers could live in one county? Poirot is a classic, so that can go in great, but Miss Marple is shit. Psych is basically a guy pretending to be a psychic detective even though he isn't. It's really, really funny. It's really, really good. Ripper Street is a murder mystery series set in the Victorian era, and if you haven't seen it but you like murder mysteries and you also like historical fiction, it's really, really good. The acting in it is fantastic. It's a little bit dark, it's a little bit gothic, and therefore speaks to me. Veronica Mars is an absolute classic. That can go in god tier. I don't know what it is about petite little blondes solving murder mysteries, but I love it. I enjoy. I'm gonna leave the rest because they're all kind of meh, good, or alright. I feel like I've covered all the ones that I'm just like, if you haven't seen these, you need to. So the good tier ones that I've got so far are Altered Carbon, Buffy, Burn Notice, Criminal Minds, Hemlock Grove, Lie to Me, Lost Girl, and Veronica Mars. I don't know why I thought that 115 TV series would fit into one video. I did think about adding the rest of the series that I've seen, but obviously I haven't actually got through all of these. So let me know in the comments down below which of these series that I actually included in the list that you really enjoyed and which one you hated. Make sure that you're liked and subscribed, and other than that, have a nice day.